There's no three. It's not the 360.
Controllers. Controllers. All right, what's up, YouTube?
Hey, what's happening? Look at all these controllers.
Yeah, here's the updates on the 360. The hood's in the back, I think.
Oh, sweet.
I was told that it arrived yesterday, so we're gonna go get lighting's coming. I got fish. I don't know. I think Elliot might be shipping some more fish today for tomorrow. Not 100% sure, but we'll see. Follow Facebook, you'll see. All right. So what are you going to see today? It was called you named it like a history of controllers, right?
Yeah, something like that. Dave put a brief history of controllers, and I put where we were and where we're going.
So what you're really going to see today is fireworks. Yeah, this is bang, like a hotly debated thing, man. Yeah. I don't know, like people just go crazy about this topic. So you're gonna see some fireworks. So hopefully, there'll be a big finale somewhere in here. I don't know.
Yeah.
But really, what you're gonna see is a journey of like 15 years, or actually 16, I guess.
Yeah.
Of my own experience with controllers, and you're gonna hear why this is like the hardest product out there to produce. It's kind of the final frontier products. In fact. I got a bunch of notes here because I mean, it was like I tried to get 15 years worth of stuff in here. It's kind of crazy. So Final Frontier, like everybody has glued a pump to a cylinder and made a skimmer.
Yep.
Everybody has glued a boat control prop to a motor and made a power head.
Yeah, was you?
Everybody has glued a LED to a board and made a light.
Lots of people.
Yeah, not everyone has made a functional controller, but a lot of people have tried.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, people are still trying. I think Charlie says that he's been working on some of his own stuff in his own house, but mainly he uses it to control Christmas lights. But he said there's applications if he wanted to. But he does say that it is a pretty hard task.
So experience out there just in the world will tell you the amount of people that have tried and the amount of people that have been successful. But there have been a bunch of successes. So we're going to talk about the successes today. We're going to talk about some of the challenges. We're going to talk about my own experience. One of the things I've really wanted to share, and I don't know, we're going to get it out today, is the terrible, awful experience we had with the Cerebra, behind the scenes stuff. And that. So you're going to hear that garbage.
I haven't told that story yet.
No, you're going to hear some of it today, a good portion of it anyway. The part where I'm not swearing, at least. So we'll share my personal journey with controllers, some of it as a reefer, but also what you get to hear today is a little bit of, as the owner of Bulk Resupply, the behind the scenes component of it. You'll get to hear that as well. And you know what's kind of cool too is you get to hear a little bit on how we select gear here at BRS to sell, which has changed over the years, by the way.
Yeah,
so there's just kind of different things. So you'll hear that. We're also bringing in the Hydros and the GHL controllers. So it's been a long time coming for both of them. You're going to hear why. I think some of you will find it pretty interesting.
I mean, there's GHLs that we've been testing, and I see them over here in the back. Our guys have had down tanks for months now. Yeah,
so here's the thing, is the GHL controllers come up pretty much quarterly.
Yeah.
Every quarter, like doing an evaluation. You're gonna hear all about that today. I don't know, if you're interested in controllers, man, this is the episode. We're gonna talk all kinds about them. And I'm gonna share a little bit in the timeline. So we're gonna start in the beginning of this for me because, I don't know.
Where else do you start?
Yeah, it just seemed like the way to start. So this timeline is not when all of these things came out, it's as I experienced it. So, like, I'll be curious to see where you chime in, where you start experiencing.
7 or 8 years after you.
There you go. All right, so not so specific. Don't, flame us because one thing came out before another one. I acknowledge that right now.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start with the very first one here. I had to find this thing on eBay, actually.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah. So this thing is called the Octopus, 3000. And I had to dig back in my memory a little bit for this. Raise your hand if anybody has seen the Octopus 3000. This has not the Reef Octopus skimmer, no affiliation there, or Coral View. This is just the Octopus.
It looks like they have, I see the B and C connectors for the pH probe and
X10 on it.
Another, there's a temperature thing in there too. I mean, that is already hitting a lot of the buttons. I mean, that looks like an ancient piece of history to me, but it's hitting a lot of the controller buttons that we see today.
So this is where I found that thing. It was in my favorite Marine Depot catalog. So I had bought something from Marine Depot, was in there, and I'm searching through, and Aquarium controller.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
You know, like, so here's the thing, man. Like, I like gear, and part of me just really wanted to buy it, but there were some barriers. I never did.
What was the price range around there?
I don't remember. Maybe somebody out there can remember what it was. Apparently, a decade later on eBay, it's worth $149.
British pounds?
Or British pounds, I guess. But here's the thing. First off, it was kind of out of my price range at the time.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, I would have been reaching to get this thing.
This
right?
was like when you had your 90s?
Yeah, I had my 90.
Okay,
Yep.
your 90, yeah.
And here's the big thing is I didn't really understand what it did. You know, so I could see it did pH or whatever, but I couldn't like get the value matrix
Right.
of like how am I mean, you can break yourself for anything at any time. Like I'll save up because I want it bad enough. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just couldn't figure out what it did enough to do that. And because I couldn't figure out what it did to justify it, wasn't for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of things outside of this hobby that I probably have a heck of a benefit in my own life. I just don't, I haven't made the connection yet.
Yeah, you haven't like put the dots of like how is this thing going to bring value to your life? And I don't know. To be fair, I mean I was just looking at a catalog, so how can I possibly get that out of
That
it?
probably applies to a lot of people in aquarium controllers, though. Some people just don't know what they're capable of or how they can actually benefit from it.
You're going to hear that a little bit today. I mean, riddled throughout. Like,
Yeah.
why would anybody get a controller? I don't know.
Yeah.
You certainly don't need one to be successful. So, what would be the reason I get it? What kind of value is going to bring you to my life? You'll probably hear that somewhere
Yeah.
riddled within this. But I must not have been the only one who didn't get it because it doesn't exist now. So it's gone. I don't know. Now, the next one up here was about the same time, and I don't know if this is the right shot or not, but like Neptune came out with the Aqua Controller.
Oh yeah, this went from
Yeah.
like the Aqua Controller all the way up to like the Aqua Controller 3 or something like that.
Yeah, that
the
3
blue
came out,
one.
I think, much later.
Yeah.
So, I believe anyway. So, at the same time, I didn't get it. You know, it was the same thing with the Octopus. It was kind of expensive. I
I've
didn't
seen that
get
one
the value.
before in my time in the hobby.
Oh, really?
In use on my buddy's tanks.
Oh.
I believe in Kansas or the fish store in Kansas. Yeah.
I'll be curious. Somebody chime in and say if that's actually the first one or not. I was just kind of searching the internet,
Yep.
trying to get some pictures to get an idea. I also didn't get the value on this one, so it wasn't for me. However, Neptune is a U.S.-based company. And I was actually told the reason that Neptune exists was Kurt over there was trying to solve some problem that like he had with the octopus. Like he saw the future in it and solved it. I don't know the full details.
Yeah. But where did you find that one though?
It was also in the Marine Depot catalog.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All right. So the next one here, I think, is about the same time. I don't know. The controller here, the GHL. It was also out. The website says 1998, which actually way
interesting.
predates me. I don't know if that means that they had their first controller
Not sure
out
if these
or they
were the
were
original ones, but
Nah, these are the brand new ones
Yeah,
that are
yeah.
out today. So here's the story though, is I didn't know of GHL at the time. I now know, I went to their website to find out they were around back then, but I didn't know. So you'll get a little bit of that as to maybe why that is later on too. I don't know, but I wasn't even irrelevant in my ecosphere at the time to consider 16 years ago.
Yeah.
So there we go. All right. So something happened actually that changed my position on aquarium controllers, and some of it was actually price, and some of it was more so actually knowledge.
was it after you started Bulk Reef Supply that you discovered this next one?
No. So I was having a Reef Club event at my house.
Yeah.
So I had all these frag tanks in my house, and I was like teaching a little class on how to frag anemones and stuff in my basement with the local TC MAS club. And then somebody brought a Reef Keeper over.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And they were teaching people how to use it at the club, and I'd never seen one in person.
There's a variety of menus and button presses like to really dial this thing in and become a pro at it. So,
Well, to me, it was the same thing. It was a cheaper version of the thing I didn't understand I needed.
yeah.
And I guess you don't need it, but like it was a cheaper version of it, but it's still relevant to me, right? Until I watched the guy give his little presentation.
Tell you what it can do. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
show the
look,
whole
if I
the whole
do
club.
this and do this, this is what it does. If I do this, it does what it does.
Yeah, so I'm only hit the high level stuff, but it was enough to
let's show
change
it
my
here.
mind. So it looked kind of like this. It was a Reef Keeper 2, and so this thing changed over time, but this was what it was, the one that came to my house actually. And so if maybe some of you remember what that looks like or ever had one, I don't know, that'd be funny, share, because it's been a while. But what it did is it provided backup heater protection. So if my heater failed, like it would back it up. Since my heater had failed in that tank, I'm like, oh, I get you.
That makes sense.
Kelk and 2-part protection. So it's got a pH controller on it. So if your kelk or auto top off with kelk or 2-part doser overdoses, it will stop it. I had dosed entire 10 gallons of kelk wasser to that tank. So like, oh, I get why you would want not to do that.
Yeah.
And then you could get rid of all your lighting, dosing, and fuge timers. And like, so I was dosing on 2-part dosers.
And the timers and pushing those little tabs and stuff like that and trying to get the time right. And
Yeah, so I had 4 timers. I had 2 for each of the cords on the T5s, 5. 1 for the refugium on the back, and then 2 for each doser. Like I just messed with timers down there. Like, oh, you get rid of that too? And when you got rid of all that, it was just a nice clean install. Like, all right, so this thing actually is between $99 and $249. I now understand why you use it. And now
that's a price range I can afford.
Now it's in my price range.
Yeah.
Reef Keeper, you and me, I get you.
I do like Reef Keeper. Even to this day, still to this day, I think there's a couple Reef Keepers sitting around here that people use. Dave's shaking his head. Yes, I've seen a couple around the office. They're perfect timers.
They're so easy to use.
So easy to use.
I always tell people like, I could teach my grandma how to use this thing in probably 5 minutes, and she's not a reefer. That was so easy. So yeah, all right. So the next thing that like eventually we started BRS years later. I don't know, some point later.
Yeah.
And you know what? I tried to recreate that whole experience.
Teaching experience.
Yeah, that value that I got from the club, but do it on YouTube. You know?
Yeah.
That's just like, so this is like way back. So maybe we can pull up that screen. So some of these things are 9 years ago.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, I mean like Reef Keeper 2. What's that first one actually? I can't even see.
Oh, that first one was the first image you had. That's from 12 years ago.
12 years ago. Yeah, so 12 years ago.
Week 44 in the BRS 160.
Reef Keeper 2 video.
Look at that. The bottom one is 9 years ago.
You know what? The first one is probably better than those ones in the white background.
The clicking, you can hear you clicking to pause the sound or like turn off the
video editing was not my thing.
That was great.
Okay, so you know what though? It worked. So you know what? We could teach people how to use it. And in one of those videos, what I actually did is like add it up. You know, like if you already bought this stuff, this doesn't really work. But if you're thinking about it, like, all right, so how much is a few timers? How much is a heater controller, a pH controller, all this stuff? Oh man, this greatly exceeds the cost of one of these things. So like, not only is it better, but like it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Value trifecta, right? All right, so here's the bad part, man, is behind the scenes, I know the people that are the head marketing people over there, and their business model was to sell you the head units basically at cost. Right? So like the assembly and the parts and all that stuff. So like the kit that was $99, and I think they eventually raised it to like 120.
Yeah.
Made almost no money. And the
like
whole
the kit didn't make money?
Yeah, so if you bought a Reef Keeper Lite
as
or
the end
even
user.
the Plus.
Yeah,
and they really wanted to sell the Elite or what was eventually the Eye of the Archon.
Archon. Yep.
But the 2 small entry-level ones like barely made any money after like distribution costs and all that other stuff. But the hope was that everybody would, bring in all of the accessories. Right?
Oh, okay. Because there was, the modules for the individual dosing head modules that you could add on, or the additions, and there was a variety
probes
of them.
And stuff like that.
SL1s and SL2s and all kinds of stuff for different probes, additional probes.
Yeah.
The Wi-Fi version too.
That net module.
The net module that
we'll hit on that in a second. But you know what? It didn't work out. People didn't buy that stuff, and so they ultimately went out of business.
Yeah.
So
because they bought it for what it was. It was a really inexpensive timer, and that's really all I needed.
Well, it has a pH controller, and it had some other functions in there too. But people like, I do. It was a great option for that price point. It just wasn't a great option if you're trying to like run a business around it, I guess. So the Elite like allowed you to have excess modules, and nobody wanted that many modules, so nobody bought the $400 one. And the net module that came with it was where you get the
Just
like alerts to your phone and stuff. Like just
Never
didn't work.
worked. Never worked.
And then
We stopped selling that.
eventually they tried this Archon thing. I think there's a picture of this one too. Oh, but hey, you know what? Go to that this photo right here.
So this was
how easy it was
local
to install it.
dashboard deal, right?
Yeah, so select a port. You know, it's so easy.
And there's
man.
there's some knowledge here that you have to kind of understand, like what a set point in, what a hysteresis is. Those are kind
for
of
the
foreign
temperature.
words back then, you know. But once you got the hang of it, this thing was just
It was so
super
easy, man. You could actually do it on the faceplate even. It was so
Yeah.
easy. This was the Archon screen, so they basically took the Reef Keeper and brought it to the Archon and charged
This
a lot
looks
more
a little
money
more
for
user
it.
friendly.
Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. We kept reviewing it here, and setting it up was actually, getting it actually hooked up to the internet was such a nightmare every time.
And that kind of speaks to our process to bring in products. So we've had Reef Keeper, we've had Reef Keeper Lite, we did have the Elite at one point in time. We never did have the Archon.
No, it was never ready, man.
Yeah.
Like every time they sent it to us to test it, like, I don't know, man. It like really giant pain in the butt to get this thing hooked up, and on top of that, I don't get the price matrix. Like, yeah, you can. It was almost just like a Reef Keeper, but you have internet for a lot more. I don't know. We never brought it in. Anyway, so they were gone. I actually though, when they left, when I heard they were going to close, I started reaching out to people. And
To revive it?
Yeah, well, so that kind of technology is a little beyond BRS. Like we're not engineers here,
Right,
so I would have loved to bring it in myself, but it just would have been a distraction at the time. So I started reaching out to people, and actually I hooked up CC'd CoralView at the time because I thought CoralView would have been a great distributor for this, and they have the electronics expertise,
Yeah.
So I thought they would have been a great partner to bring that in. However, I don't think that the people over at Reef Keeper ever got back to anybody. I don't know.
Yeah, just closing the doors.
I don't. Maybe it was. I'm just theorizing here, but maybe it was just a tax write-off or something at some point. It's just cheaper to write it off than try to sell the assets. I have no idea. All right, but
We
Reef
do
Keeper,
miss you. I
miss you.
I do
Me and
miss
you.
you.
We go a long way back to my roots, my first tank.
Yep.
Anybody wants to revive the Reef Keeper? You let me know, man. I'll help you. I'm in all the way. All right, so. Now, this is kind of like, you got to go back a couple of years because we're in the middle of the Reef Keeper years and
was
our
a little
old
forward.
location
Yeah.
and when I brought in this guy, the Aquatronica. I don't know if anybody here
do
is
not
real
remember that
familiar
one.
with the Aquatronica, but we brought in the whole line. And I got to be honest, I don't remember a whole lot about it. I just remember a few things.
Okay.
So one, I remember it like having a way cooler screen. I think maybe there was a color touch screen for it. But I think there was something really unique about the reason we brought it in. It might have been that there was dosing pumps available because back in the day, dosing pumps were actually a rare find. I think liter meter and
I
like
remember that one.
$600 thing
Yep.
was like, it's like airplane machine pump from Spectrapure everybody was using.
Yeah.
It worked really well, but it was not cheap, right? And so, I think there might have been something like that attached to it. I just don't remember. But here's the bad news. Nobody bought it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're just terrible marketers.
Was it
I don't know.
competing against the Reef Keeper too?
I thought it was an advancement. Like
Okay.
if we liked the Reef Keeper, who wouldn't like the Aquatronica?
Yeah.
I don't know. And to be honest, actually at the time, like I probably should have been looking at other options that had been out. Like I don't think GHL was even on
The
a
radar,
for
yeah.
me. And I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't really know even why we would have picked that over, the Aqua Controller from Neptune either, to be honest. But it failed. And so back at that time, that was a pretty big fail. So for those of you who don't know, Andrew and I started BRS with $3,000 a piece. Andrew got robbed because he loaned it from his loan shark buddy at 50% interest or something. But everything that we've done here, we never took on any investors, we never took on any loans or anything out. So everything we brought in was just based on whatever we made last year or last month allowed an opportunity to add one more thing in.
Yeah.
And so bringing in a whole controller line
That didn't work.
failed, and ultimately we had to eBay.
Ouch.
It stung back then.
I bet.
Yeah, it really did. It did sting back then. I mean, we were our primary profit source was $10 buckets of calcium. This was a big deal. So anyway, we had to let it go. Moved on. And the next one, this is my next experience, actually. We didn't bring this in or anything, but this was my next real experience with what was then the Neptune Aqua Controller 3. Let's see this guy.
I remember this one distinctly on some people's tanks that I visited. That blue box, that blue head unit jumps out at me. And the 4 and the 8 bars.
Yeah, so here's what happened for me. I went over to my buddy's house, and this guy's got the most elaborate systems I've ever seen. Like, well, not ever, but at the time, definitely ever seen. And had this big old tank built into his bar. He had a calcium reactor. He had a kalkwasser reactor. Kalkwasser reactor only triggered if the pH was below X, and they were like all balanced to each other. He had like alarm horns that went up 3 floors just in case anything was wrong. It was all wired up to another tank he had in his office, like a seahorse tank in his office upstairs. There were frag tanks in the shop. There was 1 floor below. Super duper elaborate, all of this controlled, and it, to me, is like, oh man, this is infallible. I've never seen anything like this. And then he started showing me how it was used, and it was like, yeah, every time I want to add something new, I got to write a new line of code, and I actually have to go look for code efficiencies because I've hit the max line of code that I can write in this thing, and I need to pull out 15 lines of code to write anything new if I really want it. Like, you lost me, man. And so, I don't know, it was super cool on his tanks. Looked infallible. However, the learning curve for me at the time on this was way too high. The price was intimidating, but now I understood the value. Price actually wasn't the preventative thing. It was, learning how to use it. And I just didn't make the leap because I didn't have the time, desire to learn how to use it. And Reef Keeper still seemed like the right fit for me. Yeah. All right. Now, Neptune Apex. All right. So
this speaks to me.
Yeah, this is the model I think that we brought in. I don't think we ever brought in the AC3s.
I bought mine from you when I was in Africa, sitting there, and you said you didn't have the time to learn how to use the Neptune Aqua Controller 3. So I bought mine and then sat there and read the comprehensive manual a couple times over because I didn't have it in front of me, but I had plenty of time to learn how to use it. And then I was like, oh, you mean I can have this go off when this goes off, when this goes off, when this goes off? Oh,
in this order?
I want that. Yep.
Yeah, right on. All right, so Apex was like a total refresh of the Neptune brand.
Yeah.
I see the value now. The price point's reasonable for what I'm using to protect it. Knowledge is still a barrier. They've made it easier than it was before, especially when they ended up putting fusion in.
Yeah, and task functions and things like that.
Still not what I would call like brainless. In fact, a lot of it was, there was like a user written comprehensive manual, 180 pages.
Yes.
Worst part of the whole thing for me was that if you wanted to like flip to page 40 for, whatever like thing it is you wanted to learn about, it assumes you read the other 140 pages before. Like, oh, what a nightmare, right?
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so let's solve that. So what we did is Dave and I shot 20 to 30 episodes on how to use that Apex and program it. So, just one after another, going after every single module, trying to understand the logic and terms of how to program it.
Yeah.
Hopefully some of you maybe watched one, I don't know. But at the end of doing 20, 30 episodes, I got this thing down.
Yeah.
I understand it now, right? And lucky for you, I shared that with you guys, I guess. And so now that I took the time to learn it, this tool is now the right tool for me. Everyone else, we had an easy video resource out there in small little bite-type chunks that doesn't require you to assume that you watched the other 23 videos before. All right, so the brand actually seemed to be in an evolutionary state as well. So we can see, the next version of the Apex came out. This is the one that most of you are probably familiar with
2016,
now. Yeah, so, boom, comes on out. All right, so now they're investing heavily in the cloud and accessories and, and the investments in knowledge on how to use them, greatly expand the user base. It increases the exponential or the expansion, potential. There's so many people now buying this thing. They're making more accessories for it.
There's such a huge user base. And even the community forum that they have is a far better. If the community forum that they have was as extensive as before when I read the comprehensive manual, I would have just been on there just reading everybody's posts. And
That's the one thing,
because they give you the chunks, they give you the answers for what you're looking for.
You could definitely be lazy. Just go, I got a skimmer, I want to do X, Y, Z, give me the code.
Yeah, and people will do it for you.
Cut, copy, paste. Yeah. All right, so the years later, now from a business insider. So this is from Ryan's like BRS hat I'll put on, right? Neptune is one of the most aggressive teams that I've worked with. To be honest, man, sometimes it shows in their marketing and their approach. They're a little bit, instead of the friendly way the reefing industry kind of buddies up, it's a little bit more like, Samsung, man. Like, this is the real deal. They're like going after this aggressively. However, behind the scenes, that aggressive nature actually shows up as like what I call zero complacency. So like there's a lot of people in our industry who just kind of like, well, people are buying, I'll just sit around and wait until they stop buying, then I'll make the next one.
Yeah.
These guys are constantly reinvesting all of the stuff they're doing, like like reaching for the next rung, and so you can see it in the evolution. You look back to 2016, how many different things are coming out.
Oh yeah.
Some of the rumors of stuff that are coming out.
And then the Trident things like the Trident now. Yeah.
I leading the way. So that aggressive nature is actually benefiting the user base in ways that most people probably don't really know about. It shows up in like just hunger to continue to succeed and
the user base
raise the bar.
And because the user base is so big, they've used a lot of feedback from the thousands of people who have this thing to come up with new functions, come up with easier to use, like displays, easier to use programming, all these products and stuff, the Neptune specific products and stuff, all came from a lot of people and just feedback.
Yeah, like rapidly solving whatever bugs might show up. So yeah, I don't know, bravo to that team. All right, so next up, and this one came out, I think before this one, I forget the time exactly, but Cerebra time. Yeah, so there it is.
Yeah.
All right, so the Vertex Cerebra. All right, so.
Thought it was going to be a big hit.
I can't remember the exact date that I encountered this thing, but
this is Macna 2013.
That's Macna 2013. All right, so I'm pretty certain I saw it for the first time at Interzoo, like I don't know, man, 2010, 11. Like this thing is a decade in the making, right? So give you an idea, it took them 10 years to finally give up, or bankrupt themselves, I guess is a better way to say it. But here's the thing, man, is the first time you see it, man, that team's energy was like infectious, man. They were gonna change the world.
Yeah.
You think of the word visionaries, and this guy hit the bill, man. Like he's got this giant vision, and he's gonna do something totally different, man. Push the limits of everything you could ever think, Like, oh man, I want to be part of that. Let me come along for the ride, you know? And then you see it, and you're like, oh, touch screen, whatever, man, it's awesome.
Yeah.
You know? So you know what? It's promise of a brighter future when you see the thing. It's touch screen, no instructions. This is the way that it was described to me. Is when you open your iPhone, does it come with instructions? Nope, because you don't need them, man. The thing is engineered so well that you wouldn't need instructions to have to use this thing.
Yeah,
right?
It's just button, button, button. Oh, I do want that. No, I don't want that. Oh, I do want that. I'm done.
Okay, so coming off of a 30 episode thing in the Apex, and like, you and me understand each other. I want to be able to just open it up and hit the button. I want to hit calcium reactor and then just load up my calcium reactor stuff.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. It was also a hardware evolution on Android or Raspberry Pi eventually. Yeah. And his pitch was he was going to make everyone look silly with the type of hardware and software they use. It's going to be this gigantic progression, man. He's shooting for the moon, you know? I actually learned a different lesson along the way. So what I learned was I have a different standard for my phone than I do my aquarium.
Okay.
So, on my phone I want like state of the art. I want every last feature you could possibly give me, right? And you know what? It doesn't have to be that stable. If every 3 months, man, I get to reboot it.
Reboot, yeah.
3 months? That long? That's cool. I don't know, whatever. Every month, who cares? Yeah, like as long as it's doing all the fancy stuff, man. Like, so run it on Android, run it on Raspberry Pi, run it whatever you want, man. It definitely sounds like an advancement. And then like here, he had like, so you could like program it super easy, and the things that did work absolutely were super easy like that. You can go to the next one. The promise of that you could write your like own code, and it was going to be open source on Android, and like we could all write our own apps for these things, right? Like,
super cool.
Oh wow, man, the future is here. Let's join up.
Nope, nothing happened.
Yeah, so the thing is just buggy as hell and never worked. And so this is also where I learned the importance of something that this complex, that so many people say they're going to do, and so many people say like, this is easy money, I got it, don't worry about me. The importance of recognizing how many failures have been along the way means beta. This isn't a heater, this isn't some LEDs glued to a board, this isn't a boat prop glued to a motor. Like, this is more complex, you know? And it serves as the redundancy point. It's the single point where everything else is plugged into
Life
it.
support.
Yeah, if it fails, everything goes, or at least some of it.
Yeah.
You know, so
because I've entrusted my gear from the wall and timers and stuff to this now controller. Okay, it's in your hands.
So I remember this conversation so distinctly. So I was with my fiance, now wife, and mother of my children now, out fishing.
Yeah.
And Jason calls me up and he's like, I'm gonna release next week. And I'm like, well, you're gonna do it without me. He's like, whoa, why? I'm like, because this thing needs beta. To be responsible, you need to launch it in beta.
Yeah.
And he's, no, it's ready, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I've been listening to you for months, dude. I support you, I support your dream, but it is irresponsible not to launch this thing. And better yet, if it is ready and you launch it in beta and nobody has any problems, boom, man, that was a perfect launch, right? I just refused. And finally, after 3 hours of losing my day fishing, a guy finally relents and says, all right, fine, we'll do it beta. So launch day, BRS.
We got, so how many of them? Like 100 of them or so?
I don't know.
I forget how many.
100 maybe. So we sold them all beta. All of our competitors, dude lied to me, man, and then sold it to all of their competitors as
Full
a
version.
retail ready product, and they all sold it to the people as this thing is, ready to go. I don't know. I was super happy the way that we approached it, but I don't think it was necessarily that they did something bad. I think he tricked those people. I don't know. That's my take on it. I don't know the answer, but this is what I do know is this something this complex, this new, working on Android, Raspberry Pi. It should have like a probably closed alpha because you don't need to air all your dirty laundry.
Yeah.
But it should have a open, really near end beta. You know, like everybody should use it and share it and just be honest, man. The thing is new and it's like not really tested super well. Like you can't emulate, several thousand people using it with just 3.
Yeah, true.
Like you just can't do it. So I don't know. Anyway, so this is one of the things I found out, that old proven tech actually is now more attractive to me than shiny new objects. I've been burned now, and I'm a little bit more respectful of the fire because my personal tanks aren't test tanks.
Yeah.
So I don't remember who told me this. I wish I could, but somebody told me that the space shuttle runs on like something equivalent to like the Apple IIc.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I don't know, most of you
Simple,
guys don't even know what
basic.
Apple IIc is. This is like the ancient edition first computer. And the reason for it is because it can't fail.
Yeah.
They don't need to play like Minecraft or Fortnite on it.
Yeah.
They just need it to actually supply air, heat, oxygen, get rid of waste, and land. And so what they need is the most stable thing out there, like the thing that isn't going to ever fail. And so that's often the least complex, oldest technology out there that has had the longest time out there to remove all the bugs.
Yep.
I don't value that. And it's because the fish are the same thing. So
They just need to breathe, they need water, they need heat.
well, if you think about it, if like launching Randy into space, and taking a fish from Indonesia and dropping it in a glass box in Minnesota,
About the same.
Not all that different. One of them, you just need to apply food, you need to apply heat, you need to supply oxygen, you need to be able to get rid of waste, you need to do like all the same things. And if you stop doing any of those things, everybody's dead. Randy's dead, fish is dead. Like it's totally foreign environment.
Yeah.
So like, yeah,
That makes
I don't
sense.
know, man. I don't mind old technology, or at least reasonably proven new technology.
Right.
All right, so I also learned this super important rule. This is like actually one of the most depressing possible things, because a promise of a brighter future from a person that invested their entire company, even people that I trust will lie when the pressure is high enough. It's just sad, man. And you know, basically, dude pumped his whole life savings into this thing over the course of a decade. And actually, that was about 2 years ago at, I think it was Reefapalooza, Orlando. I sat in the airport on the phone with a guy for like 2 hours, tell him, put it down, dude.
Yeah.
Put it down. You got a super lucrative acrylics business. You know, like everybody thinks of you as really awesome in this space, man. You can just you can be the best in the country or world at this thing, man. Go chase it. This aquarium controller thing is killing you. And if you fail at this again, man, it is going to destroy you.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna ever trust you ever again. It's gonna rub off on everything you do. Don't do this. Let it go, man.
And
You know what he did?
didn't let it go.
He took
Doubled
that
down.
speech, man. He called me up a month later and he said that speech was super important to me, Ryan. And because of that, I hired a whole bunch more programmers and I doubled down and we're bringing it home.
Ouch.
I know, man. It's just well, I don't know. So ultimately, he came here and he was begging us to, bring in the Cerebra 2. At this point, I removed myself from the equation. Like the only way we bring that thing in is, dude, you give it to the new product team. They review it. They decide that it is stable for our clientele. I would still advise you to run it as a beta, you are not leveraging me. Like you have to. I have a commitment to my business partner. I have a commitment to the reefers, and I have a commitment to all the people that work here. Like you cannot leverage me. And so you have to go and get through the committee of people that test this type of thing here at BRS. Ultimately never did, and it poofed. Also, what I learned right in the end of this one was actually kind of eye-opening, is right at the end, you know, he actually flew out here and he told me that nobody will buy it if we don't sell it. And like, well, dude, why not, man? If people want to buy it, why don't they buy it from somewhere else? And he's like, dude, they're all looking to you whether or not you think it's any good, right?
Yeah.
So he had like international wholesalers choosing, just waiting. Like soon as BRS brings it in, man, we'll put our sort of stocking order in. Like I don't know if it's like just a respect thing in the industry, or is it just specific to Vertex and trust there? I don't know, but like, whoa, and that's a lot of weight, by the way, man.
That's
When
a lot of
somebody tells you their whole business is dependent on a decision you're making, and you're not going to make it. Yeah, I don't know.
That's a lot of weight on your shoulders.
So I've said this a lot actually in the last few, like if you follow Facebook and stuff.
Yeah.
But like all this stuff is a dance, man, and it's just like you're trying to appease everybody, and you just can't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You just do your best. Follow my face sometimes I don't. But I always try to do better. We learn from our mistakes and move forward.
Yeah.
All right. So
There's still more out there.
still more, I know, guys. Hold on for your seats here. So the next one is actually GHL. All right, so here is
danced with this
GHL.
one.
Just for your reference point, I told Jason, I don't know, maybe it was Monday, bring this guy in. Maybe I was talking over the weekend, actually. I don't know.
Jason's used it for quite a while now.
Yeah,
on
and
his
so
things.
here's the thing. When we brought this thing, I swear we discuss it quarterly, and we always come to the same conclusions. And I'm gonna tell you what that conclusion is, and I think I feel differently, but more importantly, I'm curious what you guys have to say.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. It's never, man, that it isn't something that people like here like. It was actually this one question was always a hang up. And so this is the insight that you get to
The decision making.
yeah, how do we bring in products here at BRS, right? So in the beginning, it was like we were looking for a good, better, best strategy, right? We didn't need everything under the sun. I looked at our competitors and like, dude, do you really need 36 types of skimmers? Like, what's the difference between all this? Like, is this helpful?
Yeah.
And in fact, like, once in a while I go look, like, maybe we should get another skimmer. Should go look at them, and they're like, well, there's 20 other ones here, but we wouldn't use any of these. So why would we bring them in? I don't know. Like, I don't know. So we just never got there. So it was a good, better, best strategy, partially because of that, but actually a lot of it too is just we didn't have the money, man. You know, so like we brought in the things that sold. You know, like is it going to sell? Combined with the fact that we'd used it ourselves, then yes. You know, I don't know. That's just the nature of limited cash.
But they've got like, 30 some of us in here that are avid hobbyists. So when the collective pool says, man, this is really awesome, it's really easy to bring something in like that. Like, oh, I would use it. Jason would use it. Charlie would use it. Chad would use it. All these guys would use it. Then heck yeah. I mean, we can streamline that one.
So there's 3 questions here. And so follow along with me just for a second, right? And I'll tell you, this is one of those dances I think we may have got wrong. I don't know. Because I talked to Vinny, it was like a couple days ago, and he helped me get over this piece. And so, I don't know, hang in there,
Okay.
follow along for a second. Okay, so the first thing is, would you use it if somebody gave it to you for free?
Yes.
Okay, so if the answer is no way,
No,
man. Why are
there's
we
no-
gonna bring that in?
Yeah, exactly.
If somebody gave this to me for free, and not always at any specific point. Like I can, even though this a product might be like something that we wouldn't have used, I wouldn't use today, but I might have used 10 years ago. I can wind my mind back to like 5-year-old reefer Ryan.
Sure.
And
I'll take anything for
I'd
free.
use that.
I'd
then.
take that. Yeah.
So that's the first question. If it doesn't pass the I would use it if it was free, I don't care if people are going to buy it. We don't want to bring it in. The second thing is, would you buy it? Like, so if it's for sale here, and given what you know about it at a value mix, kind of applying the good, better, best, like at a specific price point against its competitors, would you open your wallet and pay for it? Okay, apply it to the GHL at the moment.
Okay.
Okay, so this is where, like, the question we always got hung up on. Okay, so I'm just going to compare it to the biggest competitor out there, being the Apex. Apex, $800, 8 outlets. 8 outlets means that it controls 8 pieces of life support on your system.
Right.
Right. GHL, $900, $100 more, 6 outlets, controls 25% less gear on your tank, 25% life support. Would you make that decision?
No.
Like, I
Personally,
just
no.
didn't get it. Like, I trust it. It's been out for a long time. I know a lot of
Lot of
people
users.
trust it. I know that, like, I've heard that the hardware in it is actually really good, and the math though, right? And this is where actually Jason the other day chimed in. He's like, dude, this is kind of like Samsung versus LG. Sometimes you just gotta like let people make up their own mind.
Yeah.
Even if nobody here would do it, like Samsung and LG are like legit contenders no matter what. And I'm like, you know what? When we didn't have a ton of money, I don't know if I'd agree with you, but like now we have enough that we can stock more stuff easily.
I mean, it's that.
Yeah.
It's that too. And when you made the comparison about skimmers, and like, okay, so we already have 20-some skimmers, 25-some skimmers. Here in this space, we don't have 20-some different things.
Yeah. So actually, here's the reason though. So let's get past that actually. It's not just LG thing. There's actually some value in here.
Yeah.
So here, when I talked to Vinny, he at GHL, he shared these, amongst other things, he shared a few things. So first off, right here in this photo, it's got a display. So you can walk up to it and see what the pH and temperature and stuff is in the tank.
Okay.
You don't have to have your phone on you.
There's something you have to buy extra if you want.
I like that.
I like it.
Yeah. So you know what else it has? is it has audible and visual alarms.
Built into the
Yeah,
head
so
unit.
if something's going wrong, it's not just dependent on my phone, or I don't have to use one of the outlets for anything. It's gonna beep at me and say, fix me,
Okay,
right?
I can get behind that.
Yeah, that's legit. So you open up the next photo here. There's actually more ports here. So there's like leak ports and other sensor ports and stuff that just doesn't exist in the competitor. So I don't know. And then what he said here, and this one I'd be interested to hear again what like the community thinks. He's like, dude, a lot of people just don't even use all 8 outlets. Now that is.
I mean, no, but I can see it like in the amount of things that have their own built-in control that aren't compatible with other than just on and off function. I can see saving some outlets, and then when I get down to the nitty-gritty of my heaters and a few other, maybe some power heads, depending on which ones I have, I might use up like 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know. I think. Well, I don't know. I use as many as you give me, but you should see the 160 back there. I can't believe how many are plugged in. This is another one actually. We're always in the hunt. We're always in the hunt for the Reef Keeper. Me and the Reef Keeper. We're always in the hunt for a new replacement of the Reef Keeper. So like at a trade show a while ago, I saw this one. 259. Does
Mini
pH, does
Wi-Fi,
temperature,
black.
Wi-Fi. This is it. It's sent from the heavens, and it was made just for me.
You just add outlets to this thing?
Yeah, so there's the problem actually, is that's just the head.
So that's basically like a monitor. If I don't want to plug anything in, and then I can add the head on.
Yeah, but there's no sensors or anything. I think there might be a temperature sensor.
Okay.
So the problem is once you get the 4 power bar and then you put in the pH probe, it's now 379. So at $380, man, this is pretty close to. It's like it's not really Reef Keeper. It's not really Apex EL. Like what is it? I don't know.
Okay.
So that was the apply. Like, would I use it if you gave me for free? Yup. Would I use it? Would I buy it? I don't know. Oh, we missed actually the third option. Will other people buy it? Right? Like, so this is a business here. So we actually spend money on inventory on stuff that will sell.
True.
And in fact, the people that are in charge, being Jason and the new product team, if they bring in garbage and spend tens of thousands of dollars on product lines they bring in, that doesn't sell, and we end up having to eBay, that will not go good on their review. That doesn't really happen, but they're cognizant of that and try to do their jobs as best they can.
More wins than fails.
So those are the 3 things. Would you use it if it was free? Would you use it if you had to pay for it yourself? And 3, do you think that it's worth an economic investment in because enough of the community will actually want to buy this thing? Okay. Those are our 3 questions. And I don't know, when I ended up on that Mini, will you go back to that Mini again real quick? So sometimes I think I just think about it in too much from my own bubble, right?
Okay.
And so would I don't know. But here's the thing. If you go back to this thing right here, there's value and there's a screen on there. I think I can program it right from there. It's just probably easy. It's not complex. It doesn't have a ton of cords. Actually, the Mini is what I'm talking about. So, for somebody that maybe that $100 doesn't even matter to them, and they just want something like this form factor. And to be honest, I'm not the only one here that questions this, because I don't think I had a difficult time finding anybody that actually sells it, other than buying it right on the GHL site. But, all right, so here's the thing. Samsung, LG, let's find out, man. So let's find out exactly how it works, explain how it works. We'll hopefully get to some videos and shoot it, but I want to bring it in. And so that people have an opportunity to buy it if they want, and they can share reviews on it, they can do whatever they want.
So we ordered some.
Yeah, so, even though I don't know if I'd spend $379 on it, I bet you somebody will, and somebody will find value, especially if we understand it a little bit better how it works. All right. So, new one is now new introduction to the marketplace, man. People are really excited about this one.
Yes.
It's called the Hydros, and it's been in works for years. So there is the Hydros Waves engine. Actually, come back to me here. So Hey,
2 to 3 years. I think they said they were working on it.
yeah, so first thing here, I just want to give props to CoralView because I've got a long history of listening to garbage about controllers to the fact to just tune it out now. I've been listening to so many people tell me they're going to bring a controller to market, and like, you know, if you go through them, I don't want to bash them all, so I'm not going to name them all off, but like, dude, there's so many, and from some really well-funded large companies, global presence, you know, never materializes. I've been promised these things. I mean, I can think back to the old building like 7 years ago, how many of these, like, oh, it's coming out next year, it's coming out next year. I just like, now I just kind of laugh it off, right? All right, so I guess not true with the CoralView team. They've been plugging away. And so they made those promises, and you know, like these things always take longer than you anticipate, so be it. But they're continuing to release these things, you know. So I don't know, bravo to them. So the first one was the Wave engine. So this is like the precursor, essentially, to the Hydros, I guess. You know, the Hydros controller.
Yeah, you can put all your existing pumps that you have onto this thing and reduce the amount of cords that you have going to your tank. It's really slick.
Yeah. At $300. Okay, so this is the thing. So if I have a whole bunch of like ice cap pumps or the, I think I'm trying to remember all the gyres, and there's another one, the Wave or something. Not the Wave. The puck one they have, the Octopulse.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think all those plug in there. If I have a bunch of those and you gave me this thing for free, you betcha, I'd use it for sure. Right? Would I spend $300 on it, largely because most of those things actually come with their own controller to get rid of some cords?
Nah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. And so I listened to it at the show, and David and a bunch of other people were actually demoing it. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. So send one out, and we'll have people talk about it. And then at the time, Robert Farnsworth was really excited about it here, and we were going to test it. And then it kind of got stuck in committee. You know, and like, well,
here internally.
Who's going to test it? Do you think it will really sell? And in the end, nobody really thought that a $300, you know, wake maker for a handful of pumps was going to do really well. And we actually never tested it. So I just like never really got past like worthy of the time to put into it. I don't know. We didn't sell it.
I think Jason had it on his tank for maybe a week or so. Yeah, but
I didn't think we actually tested it.
That was back when he was in CS.
Maybe it was. I don't know. All right, well, anyway, never got it launched. All right, but here's the beauty of it. What I later found out, and I was talking to David the other day, is actually the Wave engine was really kind of part of a beta launch for the larger Hydros.
Oh, okay.
And as soon as I heard that, I'm like, bravo, man. Like, you thought about this beforehand, right?
Yeah.
And you're like getting the thing tested, and like you weren't trying to test every last feature all at once. You know, like get the base thing out there, you know? And so, bravo, dude. I thought the approach was refreshing to hear, actually.
Yeah.
All right, so fast forward now like a little ways, and like, I don't know, it must have been a week and a half ago or so, something like that. So Jason comes in and tells me, dude, the Hydros 2, it's the Reef Keeper.
Oh, it's the little guy, yeah. I mean, look at this.
It's $200, right? Comes with where is the one that comes with the outlets? Yeah, it's $200 with outlets, right? And I'm like, cool, man. Like, you know, we should bring the thing in.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
Starter pack.
There it is. The starter pack. It's got four outlets. It's got a pH, or no, not pH. Temperature controller. No pH.
All
actually.
those BNC type connectors, which is I really like BNC. It's on and off.
Those aren't BNC. Actually.
Oh, they're not.
Yeah.
Oh no, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually for something else.
Like a 4-pin.
We'll get to that in just a second.
Anyway.
But then he's
$200.
Here's the funny part, because we flipped all the way around 360 in the conversation, because they're like, yeah, but I don't really know if I understand the 450 one, because it's kind of close to the EL, you know, it's new, blah, blah, blah. Like I don't know if I get the value mix of it. All right, so they sent us out two, and they've been testing them, and you know, here's the feedback actually that we got out of it, and it wasn't perfect, but it also exceeded expectations actually. So, however, the response was the opposite. He didn't really get what the Hydros 2 was about. So if you go back to the Hydros 2, if you can see that big There you go. So if you look at it, there is 6 ports here, and 2 of them are command bus, which is a power port.
Right.
And then the other one like is for daisy chaining other things together, other modules.
And then sensors.
Yeah, those 2 drives, I believe, are like for driving like a DC pump or something like that.
Okay.
So you can screw in some kind of motor or something. And I'm not sure if it's power heads or if it's something like a utility pump or something like that. But there'll be accessories that you can screw into the drives. Hopefully somebody can chime in and say a couple of the things you can screw in there. And then there's the sense ports. And what I thought at first the sense ports were pH, like you had just said, actually. No, they're actually like water leak sensors and stuff like that. Hey, Adam, do you know if it's I can do a float on it or not?
Coral View's here. I'm sure they'll chime in.
Coral View will probably tell you exactly what you can use in the sense port. So, I don't know, it doesn't have the pH in it, and like, I can monitor, the sense also works in a temperature probe, which is super important.
Okay.
So I got like a heater controller that has future, expandability and can run some pumps off the drives. So, I don't know, I'm on the edge,
Well, so that means I got 4 outlets for other control type things. I've got 2 drives for like pumps, and then some sensors with it too. That's more than what you got with the Reef Keeper.
It's missing the pH thing is the only thing. That's just a hang up,
Okay.
right? I don't know. And for me, the pH actually saved my tank. It mattered to me. Like pH is one of those things that like is an indication that something really bad is happening, like especially with chemistry, like you're overdosed something. I don't know. It's up to you. But you know what? You can look at this and make your own value matrix out of it. And I don't know, we're bringing it in, so you can do that for yourself. But also now go to the Hydros 4. All right, so I don't know if I can see all of these here. But there's 2 probes. Presumably one is for pH and one for ORP. You still have those command buses in there. The 2 purple ones.
Those are
0
to 10 volt
0 to 10 volts.
Yep.
I got 4 drives now, or 2 drives and 4 senses. So I got leak sensors. I got the temperature sensor, and then if you can see the other accessory, you can control 4 outlets. I don't know. Same thing. LG, Samsung. I don't know. You only got 4 outlets. You're gonna have to buy some more. I don't know exactly what they cost, but I think the power bars in this thing are not particularly expensive. So I don't know. For brand new,
it's still at a decent price point too.
I don't think it's too early for anybody to have like fully evaluated the whole value matrix on it. I got some caution, but I also have like some reason to believe. So I don't know. Like in the end, the reason that we're bringing it in here. Oh, they got water level sensors.
Yeah, micro pumps, skimmer sensors, all kinds of cool
stuff.
Oh,
there we go. All right, cool. So in the end, I don't know. Let the community find out. So normally, I'm going to be honest. We would wait it out. Let the community, let our competitors sell the brand new product, and we would watch the reviews and just kind of see how it goes. I'm willing to forego all of the sales that come with it, and so be it, man. We lose out, but I feel better about our approach, especially with complex products. Now, there's 2 reasons, man, why we're not doing that. One, I liked the at least what I was told, that the Hydros was essentially the beta component of it.
Oh, the wave engine, yeah.
Yeah, the wave engine. And the second piece is the community understands. So the community understands, and they're going to watch this video, they'll understand even better, probably, hopefully anyway. And so, you're getting onto something new, and you know what? You have the right to be a trailblazer.
Yes.
Right? You hear all the time, trailblazers get shot in the back.
There was
but they
an
also
instance.
Find new lands, man.
Yeah, it's true.
They do things that other people don't do. So it's just for me that we represent it properly.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where maybe the fireworks come out. I don't know. This is like, you start talking about fire hazards and black boxes and UL and all that garbage, man. Everybody gets all upset. You shouldn't get upset about this one thing. There is a real difference in this specific product, and it is that the outlets are run off of Wi-Fi, meaning that you get to get rid of the cord. That is an advantage.
Yes.
right? No more cords between the brain and this thing and the outlets where you're plugging in the gear. However, it's connected from the outlets to your hydros through your router. And if your router ever loses connection between any of these devices, the outlets just stay in whatever state they were in when that happened, right? I honestly don't know how big of an issue that is. Causes some concern in my mind. It may turn out to not be a big deal. They may even turn out to solve that deal in the future. But if we don't share that information, you're responsible.
Okay.
Right? Like, because you can plan for it. And I'm going to give you an example of how you can plan for it, actually, because Jason brought this up yesterday. So normally, or I don't know, a lot of people, what they'll do is use their aquarium controller to control the heater, and then they'll set the heater just slightly past it.
Right.
All right, so in this case, if for whatever reason the heater actually failed beforehand, you would never know. And then finally, if it ever lost connection with your router, it would just stay on, right?
Yeah.
Bad news. But if I know this going into it, I can actually do it in reverse.
Oh, okay.
Right? So I can do it in reverse and have the heater actually control itself and then set up the controller as the backup. It only fails if the thing gets stuck on. And the likelihood that the router's gone at that exact moment is pretty darn low.
Right.
And now I can also know, because the heat temperature actually went up more than normal, I could probably set it up an alarm for that. And I can know my heater failed and go change it.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the piece that knowing it. I think another one that he brought up was dosing pumps.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, if my dosing pump was on when I
then the
lost
connection lost,
and
it's
it was
just
like a
gonna keep
BRS doser, it just stay on forever.
But it's really slow.
Yeah, it's slow, but like it's pretty unideal.
Yeah.
So instead of using a BRS doser, why wouldn't I get like a different type of doser that has its own controller in there, so I can use its controller and then back it up with the aquarium controller. So knowing this information is super important, and that's going to be part of, I think, the discussion going forward. And like I think we're all products of our like environment and experiences.
Yeah, but there's something to be said about thinking of all the different ways that and redundancies that you want and making sure that they're there if something happens.
I was just talking to that actually to somebody today about something totally different, but that like in the beginning nothing had failed me, so I just trusted everything. 3 years into it, I like started to learn that like different things fail. Actually heaters earlier, but different things fail. 5 years I realized, oh man, everything fails. And then now, man, 16 years later, it's like, you know what? Unless you're going to plan having it take up for a month or a year or whatever.
Plan for something to fail.
It's all going to fail. It's all going to fail multiple times. And I needed to just like plan for that.
It's very
I just
humdrum.
need to anticipate it. Otherwise, I'm going to run into trouble. And so for me, this is my caution, is that, I don't know, maybe I'm just buying crappy routers. I don't know. And by the way, it's not about internet.
No.
So if you lose the internet, man, this thing's just fine. So don't worry about your internet. Who cares about that? It's just a connection with the router. So for me, it's like I have all kinds of devices in my house. I have shades that go up and down via a button. I got like I got a TV. I got like
all use the router connection.
I got all kinds of connections in my house, and all the time they lose connection with the device. And every once in a while, you got to reboot the device, or I got to reboot the router.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just buying crappy routers. I don't know. You guys can raise your hand how often you reboot your router or device because they lose connection.
Once every few months.
Yeah.
I got a really good one.
So, I don't know. That doesn't mean you can't use this. It just means that you need to understand that when you're setting it up. So, I don't know. Anyway, we're going to bring it in because the community would love to be trailblazers in this case. They'd love to learn more about it.
So, I mean, it answers those 3 questions, right? Would you use it if you got it for free?
Oh, okay. So I asked Jason this actually.
Yeah.
So Jason has the most experience so far with it. I asked him these questions, and this is where, like being live, you just hear it raw. So if you gave it to him free, he said, yes, I would use it. I would just do an evaluation. I'd just make sure that I use it in a way that's safe. And I asked him, okay, would you pay the $450 for it? And he said, it just hasn't earned the trust yet.
I come from it like if you ask me the same questions, I'd love to be a trailblazer. Like try out new gear, be the brand new one. So if you gave it to me, I'd throw it on a frag system immediately and try it out.
Would you throw it in this tank?
Well, okay.
Yeah, so it depends on where you are, man.
Exactly.
The importance of the tank. So I don't know. He said he thinks he would, but he wouldn't yet because he hasn't built up trust with him yet.
Okay.
That's just legit
fair
answer,
for
man.
him, yeah.
So I don't know. In terms of will the community buy it, I have no idea. Let you guys can find out.
There you go.
So I don't know. I think we'll find out on all that. So I think that's pretty interesting. So there's other contenders out there as well.
People make controllers. There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah. So here's the thing, man. Again, I told you this earlier. I just stopped listening to all of them because they never materialize.
Final product, and then we'll talk.
Yeah, and you know what actually irritates me more than anything?
What's that?
Is a lot of them try to use us as their like paid alpha beta testers. And by paid meaning we pay them. You know, like, dude, use your own staff,
I'll
man.
send these
Don't
to
send me
you.
your like garbage you've barely tested.
You try them out and tell us what you think.
Yeah, and actually most of them have figured out not to do that because they don't want the staff here at BRS to get
Open and honest.
Yeah, they don't want to get it. They don't want to get an initial bad
Brutally honest.
like interest here.
Yeah.
You know, like or not bad interest, a bad experience because that kind of thing kind of sits under your belt for a while.
The hobbyists around here give everything the hardest critical look, I think.
Yeah, and I actually go to the show, and every time I see one of these things, I go talk to the vendors. And 50-50, actually not 50-50, almost every time, they actually say the words to us, we're not ready for you yet, right? Like we're not ready for that scale. Like if you brought it in, it would crash the cloud, man. You know, we're still working on things here. It works on a small scale, but it is not ready for that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, all right, call me when you are. I'm not going to hound you about it. And in fact, I really don't because I don't want to pressure you to bring in something that's not ready. So you call me whenever you're ready, man. I don't know. We'll test it and find out. All right. So here's the big question. Everybody is watching is like, all right, so which one of these is the best? Right?
Yeah.
Tell me which one is the best.
I can tell you what's best for me.
Okay. That's a good answer, actually.
For me, the best, my heart lies with the Neptune Apex, but I have such a long, familiar history with it. I understand their language. I get exactly how to write the things to make it do what I want to do. It actually excites me to go write that type of stuff, and I have that insider knowledge of, I know if I want this to happen and this reaction to happen and this reaction to happen, you don't have to make a Barney style 4-step process to walk me through it. I would actually rather go figure out the back end myself. And then I really, I just like to see things happen. So I think I was telling you that like Rube Goldberg type, puzzles and things that reaction happens a reaction, happens a reaction, and then I get my toast. I'll try to set one of those up all day.
As long as there's toast at the end.
Yeah, it's just like get my toast at the end.
All right. So I got a better answer than yours. Actually,
Okay.
yours is actually
That's for me.
That was perfect, actually, because it is to you. So this is the answer of which one's best. It does what you want at the price point you want.
Okay.
End of story.
Yeah.
Like there is no best, man. Like you have different desires. I want it to be easy. I want it to. And money's no object. I want reliability. I want it to have been tested back as far as it can because I'm putting on a tank like this one. It doesn't matter, man. It's all up to you. And actually, I had a really good conversation with Jake Adams this week. That was last week, actually, about controllers, and he shared with me. For him, and I'm going to butcher this a little bit, so you probably watched Jake Adams, and his opinion on controllers, but this is what I got out of it anyway. For him, he doesn't need a controller. A controller is actually the single weak point in the whole system. Why do I plug everything into one thing and then have it be now the weak point of the whole thing?
So he's the type that's so in tune to his system and checking on this and checking on that and checking on that, that the controller is just
Yeah.
an extension of it.
And he also admitted, man, he likes gear, man. He's a hobbyist, dude.
Yeah.
You know, so like he actually did install a lot of this stuff. And then one day he's just looking at all these wires and he wasn't really using it. And he just ripped it all off and went back to his
back to basics.
right?
Yeah.
And you know what? Like that's legit. So in that case, man, it does what you want, the price you want. It's free, man. That is the right answer, right? Okay, so for me, I'm going to share like what is right for me. And for me, it's been a little bit of an evolution, right? So I learned why the Reef Keeper was awesome for me, and then I went all the way like to the Apex. I learned why that was awesome for me. I'm actually going in reverse now. And what I've learned, you know, and I think it's kind of the community like shapes our opinions on stuff.
Right.
And it was like, you know, control freaks and redundancy. And if I haven't like, you know, immediately fixed the heater needs to do this, and like the whole series of events with the toast at the end, you know.
Love it.
And if I haven't done all of that, it wasn't worth it at all. And I've actually like, you know, wheeled this back for me. And the number one thing after 16 years of doing this is I just want to know when something breaks the moment it breaks.
Yeah. So
you know, that's it. I want to know when the tank is flooding. I want to know when it's leaking. I want to know when the lights got stuck on because I turned them on for a second just to you know show my buddies and I forgot.
power heads are getting dirty and
They're wearing down,
wearing
they
down.
broke. The returns pump stopped working. I want to know when somebody dumped in a bucket of food by accident.
Yeah.
I want to know like all the things that have happened to me many, many times over. The difference between success for me, long-term success and short-term success, is just how fast I know about it. And here's the thing, man. I haven't met anybody actually when we have this conversation and we wheel it back from control freak all the way from just, you know, like paying attention to it in the middle of, I haven't met anybody. Some people won't want to pay for it, that's fine. But if it was free, I don't know anybody who wouldn't want to know the moment that any piece of the life support on the tank broke so you can fix it. 90% of the time, probably more for a lot of people, you are either at home or within 30 minutes of home.
Well, and that makes sense because it speaks to the type of the hobbyist that you are. So, like for somebody like Jake who doesn't want a controller and he's so in tune to his systems, he will most likely be there to catch, you know, to fast catch something that happens to the tank. You know, for somebody like me who spends a lot of time doing something else, you know, and
stuff all the time.
Gone on the weekends, here at work, doing whatever, I'm not near my tank, maybe every other weekend or so, in which case, that's really valuable for me to know here on my phone because I'm not there.
Well, and you know what? Like on your phone, you don't have to put all that redundancy in. Like you know, like something failed, the lights are on, the heater's stuck on, off on my phone.
Yeah.
I don't have to actually implement all that stuff. Send the alarm. You can, and you probably will, but you don't have to.
But
right?
I know now that something happened.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
So that's the biggest thing for me is actually the monitoring piece in it. And so some of you probably are paying attention. You saw the Elmo, and I don't know if we ever called it the Elmo out loud.
Oh,
but it was the Apex EL monitor only.
Yeah.
Okay. And so like that thing, I don't remember exactly what it cost. It was like $250 or something.
I think so. Yeah, something like that.
Whatever. So here's the thing: is like I don't know if that is like an evolution of a product. Maybe it'll be something else new. But this is like my dream thing. Is in the future is if you could have something that had pH. Because pH will tell me that my Kalkwas are overdosed. So probably if I was in my auto top-off, that my auto top-off is not working. It will tell me that my calcium reactor is off, not working. The CO2 canister is done.
Laundry list.
Yeah, it'll tell me two-part overdose.
Could be refugium related. Could be all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it could tell me all kinds of things. pH chemistry right there. Water level. So it will tell me whether or not, like if the water level is high, the return pump probably failed.
Yep.
If it's low, the auto top-off probably failed.
Yep.
Right? And leak sensors. Almost everybody's going to run into a leak sometime. They come in different forms. Sometimes it's your plumbing develops a leak. Sometimes it's the bulkhead in the back of the tank that develops a leak.
Drips.
Yeah, slow
floods.
Worse.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's actually just your return pump failed, water level in your sump goes up, skimmer's going crazy, spraying foam all over the place, that kind of leak. But eventually somebody's gonna run a leak. I want to know about the moment it happens so it doesn't damage my house or my stand.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a fourth one in there. So pH, leaks, water level, temperature. I want to know when somebody, like my furnace failed, I want to know my air conditioning failed, somebody decided it was a great idea to monkey with the thermostat or open windows or whatnot, the heater failed.
The heater itself,
yeah. I want to know the moment that something's going wrong with temperature. And then, I'd really like to know also is when there's a power outage.
Yes, the heartbeat.
Right, the heartbeat thing. So if I knew all of those things, for $250, you know what? When you're on vacation or you're out, canoeing the Boundary Waters, or I suppose you don't get cell phones there, but if you're camping in a place, you can.
Yeah.
You know what you can do? Ryan, go help my tank.
Go look at my tank. Yeah.
Most times I'm 30 minutes. Somebody is within 30 minutes of your tank. Your girlfriend's probably there.
But would you use it if you gave it to me for free? Would I buy it at $250? And then would everybody else buy it?
Well, they bought 150 of them something in 24 hours. So I'm pretty certain. And it didn't even do all
It's just a monitoring tool.
Yeah. So I don't know. To be honest, man, I don't know why they don't make that thing. I like doing my best to twist their arm. Maybe it'll show up in the future. I think it's because, frankly, they got bigger stuff on the plate.
Yeah.
Right? So you'd like to think they have a infinite amount of hours to chase every fairy tale that everybody draws up. It's not true.
Yeah.
There's a limited amount of engineering there. Even though they dump all the resources into producing all this new stuff, they can only do so much. I'd like to think that this thing shows up because this is the number one piece. So you see all that value in it. It's not even a controller now, it's just a monitor. But it comes pre-configured. You don't have to learn anything. You plug it in, and the only thing you really need to know is know your own phone number and how to spell your name. If you can do that, then all of a sudden I'm going to get push notifications and text messages and emails when any of this stuff happens.
Oh, you sold me.
Turns out I can spell my name and I know my phone number. So I don't know. But here's the real story though behind it. To be honest, I'm beyond that. That's the number one reason that I'm going to use it.
Okay.
But I'm also going to do all the redundancy.
Yeah.
And here's actually the thing. So we did the 30-part episode on the Apex way back in the day. You guys may have noticed that Randy's doing Master Your Apex now because he's one-upping me. He knows more about this than I do.
I mean, if I read the comprehensive manual.
I've never read the 180 pages. So here's the thing though. This is what this looks like every time we do one of these. We're not treating, last time we treated it like it was a module.
Well, last time you went all right, here's the PM1 module, here's what it can do, here's how you program it, and then it could do this, this, and this. This time it's, hey, do you have a skimmer? Do you have a skimmer? Okay, well, has your skimmer done this, this? Can it do this? What are you gonna do about it? Oh, well, here's what the Apex can do.
So let me actually give you the actual process behind producing one of these things.
So
you nailed it though, that we're no longer treating it like an outlet. It's not a brick of 8 outlets. It's the life support. So outlet number 1 is not an outlet. It is a heater. It's temperature control for this organism that lives in Minnesota that should be in Indonesia, right?
True.
It's outlet number 1 is temperature. Outlet number 2 is the skimmer. This is how we get the pollution out of the tank and the environment, right? Yeah. So it's the life support mechanism. So what we do when we produce one of these things is Randy comes in and the first thing we say is, what are all the ways the skimmer could fail you?
Yeah.
And the first thing you say, I don't know, there's 3. Turns out there's 33.
Right? There is, yep.
And we just brainstorm all these ways.
I could do this.
And then we're like, all right, so how could I use the Apex to fix all those things? Not only just fix them if they caught them, but how can I make the Apex, in this case, make the skimmer actually smarter, safer, and perform better?
Yeah.
All right? Well, let's think about all those things, and better yet, at the end of it, we come up with that list. I personally don't know how to implement it all. I'll leave it to Randy, right? But actually, now that he's doing it, I'm thinking I'm setting up my own tank at home, like, these are awesome. I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
Because I actually hadn't thought about all these things in relation to a protein skimmer before.
But they can happen.
Yeah, and I can implement it at home now, and somebody's already done the work for me, and the code and stuff is already there.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. So hopefully that'll be the next evolution of this thing, is just making it easier, removing, like, understanding the value of what these things do. You can decide for yourself which tool actually does it, because most of the information actually applies to anything. You just have to figure out your own steps for the next thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know, exciting times.
Controller talk. It really fires me up. I like it.
All right, well,
I'm
maybe
excited.
we'll answer a couple of questions
There's a couple of them in here. Carlos is here, and a bunch of team is here.
Oh.
Diablo says, gave us $5, so we got to throw that in there. Thanks for all you do for the community. Appreciate you, Diablo.
Oh, actually, I see the one in the Senai. That's a good question.
Oh, yeah. So X Sands asks, is the Senai any good?
You know, I don't know. This one was interesting. I just put it on my own tank, so I do have some recent, feedback from it.
So it's a monitor. In that conversation of monitor or automation or control,
can you spell your name?
It's a
Can
monitor.
you put your phone number in?
it is kind of that easy.
It is
yeah,
easy.
and put this little slide in there.
So one of my disappointments with it actually was I thought I could use it to cycle the tank and
the ammonia.
monitor
Yeah.
the cycle, and I'll tell you probably could. I just don't think it's the best use for that now.
Okay.
And so the reason for that is at a low pH, it actually measures ammonia gas, I think. Yeah, the toxic ammonia, not ammonium. And at a low pH, most of it is actually ammonium. And so the reality is in a brand new tank, often that don't have the lights on, the pH is pretty low, so it actually reads like there's no ammonia. Now, technically speaking, there's no toxic ammonia or very little, so it's telling you it's safe, but it isn't really giving you the insight into how your cycle's going. What it's really actually good for is later stages of the tank when you have lights on, the pH is closer to your 8 to 8.3.
Something happens and the ammonia
dies.
spikes. Yeah, exactly.
This is the only tool out there that will tell you something actually died in the tank.
Well, it does have the pH and the temperature and the water level sensor and the PAR meter built in too. So if you're not using it just for the ammonia piece, there's benefit around that too.
It's one of those kind of oddball tools because it's a mix of PAR meter, pH, ammonia, temperature, and water level.
Water level, yeah.
I don't know. It's just super easy to install. I'm just going to be honest, though. My own personal opinion is it's just a pulse.
Yeah.
I find the pH probe to actually be more accurate than the tab. It's a decent pulse, and so
They've got the right idea mindset monitor wise, maybe not in one single unit, separate them out for what their intended purpose is, but that mindset of monitoring.
Let me tell you this, if you have a computer right next to your tank where you can use just the $200 one and plug it in, great. If you have to buy the $300 web server to go with it, it's a hard stretch.
Yeah.
So I don't know, take it or leave it.
Let's see. Carlos is saying from Coral View, he says the sense ports are for temp, water floats, leak detector, flow sensor, leak rope, and skimmer water sensor.
Yeah, the leak rope was actually really interesting. It was like a kind of a plastic rope that you can put around a bunch of different areas instead of just a single location. So
I was looking at that.
I don't know, it's must be like a plastic with conductivity.
That's really cool.
A conducive.
So
plastic.
if you get a little drip, it would really work well if water spilling over the edge of your tank or something. All right, cool. Sven says, I come back to it. Why do we need a controller? Why do we need a controller when the pumps, lights, dosers can all be programmed?
Yeah, again, so this is actually one of the points that we missed today is that whole debate versus,
Why do I need one?
Does the controller actually form the weak point in the whole system? When I plug all my gear in there, now is it actually at more risk? I've taken all of these individual risks and I've consolidated them into one location. Okay, so this is you can make up your own opinion, but my experience is this: if you have a good controller that's been tested long term and can be trusted, the single point combined with the redundancies, combined with the notification that something's going wrong, greatly exceeds the risk that it has, because all of those things that are plugged in are going to fail.
Well, it's more redundant than plugging something into the wall. Like maybe you have a couple power strips, maybe they're split between 2 breakers, but what if your whole home goes out? I didn't know that the power went out. There is no like backup for them or whatnot as far as like where they fall. If some of like that one outlet went off, but not this one. So I could see it's not putting all your eggs in one basket, because you put your eggs in one basket when you put a single power strip into the wall.
Well, it's a big
debate
for a while. For me, if it's good, the analogy is true, but the benefits greatly exceeds the risk.
True.
I can tell you this: not having one has put tanks in danger so many times. Having one has so few times actually put the tank in danger. So just experience tells me otherwise.
Yeah.
That's all based on having one though that isn't weaker than the rest of it combined. So you're just going to have to debate that for yourself. And the longevity of it.
I'm not sure if this was answered by Carlos or the Coral View team, but Battle Lurker was asking if the Hydros has any breakout box type of accessory ports.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Did you ever see that, Adam? No?
I don't know the answer to the question. So
maybe
we'll
the Coral View team will chime in here right at the end, but on that one.
Yeah. Right
Carlos from Coral View also says, routers given to you by your internet service provider, super crappy. That is 100% true.
Yeah, you know what, man? I've been trying to like chase my way out of that whole like the Xfinity ones. That's terrible. I don't know. But here's the problem. I got a lot of stuff connected, and maybe it's just my own problem. But I actually bought like like Nest Google I don't know what it is, like a grid. What do they call that when they all work together?
There's a name for it. Anyway, it's
mesh.
a smart.
The mesh, right?
Your CO2 alarms and your fire alarms.
I got 2 of them in my house now, and like one of them always isn't working, and so I just flip back between the Xfinity one and the mesh. One of them eventually works, and then eventually I had to go reboot both of them.
Oh, that's terrible.
I don't know, man. I had bad luck with them, but definitely I think Carlos is right. The ones from your router get used pretty heavily. They put in a new nice package for you when you get it, but
it's one of the cheapest ones they can get. Yeah.
Yeah, nature of it.
All right. Last one here from Jay Kelly says, Reef Pi and Smart Bars are the future.
All right, man. Well, see, dude, like there's a different tool. Like you have your needs, you have the cost you want to put it, and there's the right tool for the right job for everybody.
Yeah.
Use it correctly, and you'll get the results you're looking for. Hopefully, you guys got a little window into, I don't know. Like,
there's some behind the scenes in here. If you listen, come back and watch it again. 15
years of controllers, I don't know, condensed. I literally had to spend hours like putting together notes trying to remember how this all played out in my head. So I don't know. So here's the thing. My wife is due tomorrow with my new son. I don't know when he's going to come, so imagine in the next week. I doubt you're going to see me or live next week. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it from my house.
There you go.
Who knows? But it might be a couple weeks off. Black Friday and stuff is coming up soon too, so I don't know.
You got that going on.
But if you want to get back to the 360 here, I'm gonna one of my maternity leave. She did all the hard work, but somehow I get a leave.
Paternity.
I don't know. I go take care of all the other kids. So I'll probably be on